Okay, and welcome to Integrated Human Studies, and thank you very much for agreeing to opt into these courses for first semester. I'm Neville Bruce. I'll be convening these two courses, IHST 1110 and IHST 1111. You'll be seeing a fair bit of me during the semester and also our other tutors who I'll be introducing very soon. But for this short video is really just to explain to you what Integrated Human Studies is. Some of you may have studied one of the courses last year, many of you won't. So it must be a bit of a mystery. What is Integrated Human Studies? Here we go. I'll be showing you a little bit of a PowerPoint slide to help explain. Now, we've been running Integrated Human Studies last year. It's been great. We had a lot of fun. We've been developing the ideas for now almost 8 years. And here we're going to explain to you just why we're so enthusiastic of really getting to flourish in first year. In our two units, Humanity in the 21st Century and Human Action for World Futures. What's it really all about? You can summarize it under one simple heading: the nature and future of humankind. Okay, why did we develop these units? Well, in many ways, perfectly obvious. While you're at university, you will be studying all sorts of different courses and all sorts of different specialities, and that is great. But at the same time, what's happening in this world is phenomenal, particularly over the last 100 years. We have advanced tremendously rapidly in technology, in science, in all sorts of different ways. We've become extraordinarily powerful. We now, for the first time in human history, 200,000 years, we have suddenly become so powerful we can blow up this planet. We can change this planet. We're changing its climate. We're changing its life forms. And indeed, we're changing ourselves very, very rapidly. So we've got the power, but the question is, have we got the knowledge, the understanding, the values and wisdom to wield this phenomenal power? That's what we're worried about. That's the concern of Integrated Human Studies. And so you can see that humans, if they're left on their own and they just blindly go ahead without thinking, we could end up with a pretty unsatisfactory world. Population explosion, global warming, resource depletion, you name it. But at the same time, if we intelligently use our wisdom, we're capable of creating much better worlds that will be better for our children, worlds that will be absolutely great. That's part of the challenge. That is what we could be doing. Now, that tells us something. Integrated Human Studies is about the really large questions about life and the future, about your lives. It's about understanding ourselves and what humanity really means. It's understanding change, the phenomenal rates of change that we'll be seeing right throughout this century. Above all, it's got a practical application. We would like to think that in teaching this and learning it, we're better able to promote human well-being locally, regionally, globally, within a sustainable world. And I've got these two little diagrams here to give you a bit of an idea of just how phenomenal the changes have been. 200,000 years ago, we were simply little naked apes. We could easily have been an endangered species. Almost by luck, we're still here. From 200,000 years ago till about 10,000 years ago when we developed agriculture, we were in a state where we could have been snuffed out. After agriculture, industrial revolution, scientific discoveries, and now the computer age, look what we've got. This little naked ape is no longer at the mercy of the environment. Rather, the environment is at the mercy of this little naked ape. Think about that. Okay, so let's look at Integrative Human Studies from a slightly different direction. How do we teach it? What is it? Well, it is keyword integration. It is bringing together things to make more sense of very complicated and complex world issues. It pulls together the sciences, the social sciences, the arts and humanities. It pulls together specialist studies and indeed professions, anything that is likely to help us understand humanity and promote human well-being. Now, if you like to think about it, many of you doing science. Science is all about mechanisms, how things work. Many of you may be doing arts and humanities. They primarily are thinking about the meaning of things, not just the mechanisms, but what it all means. And then, of course, we have the implementing disciplines, medicine, engineering, architecture. These are the implementing disciplines that pull together these more basic things, the means whereby we affect change. Collectively, these ways of thinking, this interdisciplinary way of thinking, is about your life and your future. It's about human and world futures, everyone. And it's what you can do to help change those futures. Now, let's get on the actual subjects. Here, we can start to question the first subject. The first subject, most people start with this one. We prefer people do, but you can start with either. This is about who we are as a species. It explores the meaning and what it means now to live in the 21st century as individuals, as groups, and as members of the global community. It questions where we've come from, our evolutionary history, the forces that have shaped us. Very important to know this if we're going to understand where we're going to go to next. It looks at current levels of well-being, current opportunities, current challenges. And most importantly, it starts to get you thinking about our futures, showing you ways of having visions and aspirations, realistic ones. It celebrates humanity, our accomplishment, our power and potential, but it also seeks wisdom, the wisdom we need to be able to responsibly use that power for better human and world futures. Human Action for World Futures takes on and broadens out that first unit. Most importantly, it's much more practical. It explores how we can actually do something, action, most important. It looks at past action, what we've done well, what we've done poorly, and how those actions have impacted on our environment. It looks at what we're doing now, what's threatening our futures, and what we can do about it. And mostly important, it questions what we could do in the future. That's all theoretical. Here we now start to look at practical application. How do we envisage and work towards desirable futures? How do we get together individually, as groups, and globally, as citizens, global citizens, to affect change? What can we individually do to help shape human and world futures? So the two units naturally come together, if you like, they integrate. And if you look at the sequence of ideas here, we start with developing awareness, understanding of large human problems, engagement and motivation, so we'll want to do something about it, empowerment, learning ways that we can actually act with that motivation to affect change, and finally, the actual steps of action. If you like, humanity in the 21st century mainly focuses on these first three. Human Action for World Futures mainly focuses on these second two, but they do integrate well. So let's bring all this together and suggest that you as students, before you start, it'd be great if you start to think about what's your views of the future here and now, your future and world futures, and then see whether these units have changed things in your thinking. See whether these units may perhaps have engaged you and made you more able to have a really positive outlook and a positive activity in your careers, your lives. Celebrate humanity, be part of Human Action for World Futures, and I'll just leave you with a last thought. Think about our crazy species called human. Our little naked ape has gone from something very small, very weak, to something which can change whole environments and create phenomenal cities. And we may even be thinking a bit further. what will humanity become in the next 100, 200, 1,000 years? That's for you to reflect on. Thank you, and we'll follow this up with more specific information on the units.